The more you reveal about your life, the more likely you are to receive criticism, judgment, and words that seek to discourage you. This often happens because when we talk a lot about our plans, we end up being the target of other people's opinions. How many times has someone put their dreams aside just because they talked too much and heard negative words? There is great power in moving forward and growing discreetly, without needing anyone's approval. This video will show you how to do it right. First, how to leave wisely, not to run away, but as part of an intelligent decision. Then, how to develop yourself without having to show others anything. And finally, how you will come back so transformed and so strong that your presence will speak for itself. This is a kind of commitment that is yours alone, to grow in silence. Because when you come back, it won't be the same as before. You will be the strongest and truest version of yourself. Let's start this journey together. Part 1. What to do when everything is quiet. You've left. Escape the noise, the opinions of others, and the things that distract you. Now there's only you and a path ahead. A path that feels new, mysterious, and maybe even a little frightening. But before you proceed, you need to know where you want to go. Without a specific destination in mind, any direction might seem good at first. But that's how many people get lost. They wander around without knowing why. They stumble, they return to the same point, and in the end, they're more confused than before. So when everything around you is quiet, enjoy it. Use this moment to look within yourself. Ask yourself, what do I really want? What makes me feel alive? What kind of person do I want to be? The shadows aren't a bad place. They're like a pause, a time of nurturing and preparation. There you begin to find yourself, dream lucidly, and choose your next step more consciously. 1. Organize your life around progress. People who truly transform their lives don't just dream of progress. They make progress a daily priority. Every waking moment is an opportunity to invest in self-development and take another step toward your goal. This doesn't mean living a rigid or fun-free life, but rather knowing how to channel your energy and focus on what matters most. Every decision you make must be consistent with your growth. It's this ongoing commitment that will ultimately make all the difference. The first transformation begins in your environment. Where you live and spend most of your time has a profound impact on your decisions. For example, if you want to improve your fitness, your space must reflect that goal. Organize your workouts in a practical and accessible way. Keep your workout clothes ready to go at a moment's notice. This eliminates procrastination. Stock your fridge with healthy foods so you can more easily choose the right option when you get hungry. When you set the stage for success, it becomes much easier to make decisions that move you closer to your goals. If your goal is to acquire new knowledge, the process begins with the same idea. Replace the time you spend on distractions, like endlessly scrolling through social media or watching aimless videos, with activities that move you closer to your goal. Start by reading about the subject you want to learn, looking for courses, and talking to people who are knowledgeable about the subject. Change your environment and routines to help you achieve what you want. The secret is to make learning and practicing as natural as your daily routine. Now think about something even more important, your time. Time is the most valuable resource you have, and it's important to use it wisely. Most people don't realize how much time they waste on worthless distractions, whether it's social media, conversations that add no value, or unnecessary tasks that drain your energy and focus. Every second you waste is a second you could use to move you closer to your goal. Therefore, it's important to be aware of how you use your time. The key to avoiding this waste is to break big goals down into small daily victories. It's not enough to say, I'm going to learn French this year. That's too vague. Set clear goals like study for 30 minutes a day or learn 50 new words per week. This way, you ensure you're always making progress, and this constant progress prevents you from feeling overwhelmed. The secret to achieving a goal is consistency. Bruce Lee once said, I'm not afraid of the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but of the man who has practiced the same kick 10,000 times. The secret to true transformation lies in constant practice and perseverance. Make progress a habit you can't ignore. When you begin to consistently dedicate yourself to your growth, you'll become obsessed with your own development, and progress will become visible to others as well. It doesn't matter how much time passes. What matters is what you do with it. Time will continue to pass, but the difference will be how you choose to use it. Make every day an opportunity to get closer to the person you want to become. 2. Choose a destination. Think of someone practicing archery. They have the bow, they have the arrow, and they have the strength to shoot. But what happens if they don't know where the target is? They shoot everywhere, without direction, and never hit the target. The arrow can travel far, but without a clear reference point, it never reaches its target. And that's exactly how many people live their lives. They have the desire to achieve something, but they don't know exactly what that is or how to get there. This leads them to end up wasting energy and time without accomplishing anything concrete. The big lesson here is you need to know exactly where you want to go. Simply saying, "I want a better life" or "I want more money" isn't enough. These phrases are vague, too open-ended, and difficult to measure. How do you know you're there if you don't know your destination? What can't be measured can't be achieved. If you can't clearly see your progress, you might not be making any progress at all. Therefore, it's important to be specific. Let's talk about clearer goals. For example, if you want to take better care of your body, you should first be clear about what that means. It's not enough to just say, "I want to be healthier." Ask yourself, what weight do I want to be? How many times a week will I exercise? What will I eat every day? This turns the desire into something concrete, a practical action that you can monitor and track. When you set numbers and deadlines, it's much easier to see progress. You know exactly where you stand and what you need to do to get closer to your goal. If your goal is to start a business that makes a lot of money, the same principle applies. Saying, "I want to make more money," isn't enough. Ask, exactly how much do I want to make? How soon? How do I want to sell? What will my business do to differentiate itself? These details are crucial because they help you direct your energy and actions much more effectively. Clarity in your goals allows you to make strategic decisions, measure your progress, and adjust everything needed for success. If you want to have a stable and happy relationship, you need to be clear about what that means. What exactly do you want in a partner? How does this person behave? What qualities do you value? And perhaps most importantly, what will you do every day to build this relationship? What do you need to make it ever stronger and healthier? This will transform the relationship not into something indefinite, but into something active that you work on every day. Very broad goals tend to lead to small results because you lack a clear direction. But when you define clearly specified goals with clear numbers, deadlines, and measures, that's when the big changes begin. You can see progress, measure success, and adjust the path as needed. And here's a crucial, perhaps most important point. Keep your goal to yourself. The act of telling everyone about your dreams and goals can make you feel like you've already done something, when in reality, you haven't done anything. Without action, words have no power. The world won't change just because you've told a lot of people about your idea. Moreover, with oversharing, there's a danger that you'll just be content with the words without actually taking action. Remember, the people who achieved truly great things throughout history didn't talk about their plans. They did that. They took consistent action without the need for external validation. So what should you do? Write down your goal, include numbers, dates, and all the necessary details. Be clear and specific, but most importantly, keep it to yourself. This will keep you focused on the real work, on constant progress, and by the time people start noticing the changes in you, it will be too late to try to stop you. You'll be so engrossed in your evolutionary path that nothing and no one can stop your journey. 3. Change your mindset. The greatest transformation you can experience doesn't happen in your body or your money, but in your mind. If your mindset doesn't change, nothing will truly be different, even if you earn more money or have a new body. The secret to changing your life lies not only in your actions, but also in what you think and believe. Learn to enjoy the journey, not just the arrival. At first glance, everything may seem difficult. You may feel alone and wonder if it's worth it. Thoughts like, "This is too complicated," or "What if I fail?" or "Am I wasting time?" will arise. But remember that the effort may be painful for a while, but the frustration of staying in the same place lasts forever. Your brain wants to conserve energy and stick with old habits because it's comfortable, but every change requires adaptation. The trick is to see discomfort as a sign that you're growing, not as an impossible obstacle. If you learn to enjoy the journey, no one will be able to stop you. Those who focus only on the end rarely get there because they place their happiness in something that lies in the future. But that's not real. Top athletes train not just to win competitions, but because they love challenging themselves every day. The joy lies in the process, not just in the medal. Furthermore, you don't control the results, only what you do. This is an important principle of Stoicism. You can give your all to a project, but that doesn't guarantee immediate success. You can invest in a relationship, but there's no guarantee it will be reciprocated. The sooner you accept this, the less you'll suffer from unnecessary frustration. Do you want to change your mindset? Celebrate every small step forward, every workout you complete, every new habit you form, and every day you outgrow your old self. Because these small steps add up and create big changes. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." This means you have to stop trying to please others and instead follow your own values. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. True growth happens when you stop seeking the approval of others and start acting in accordance with who you truly want to be. In the end, the most important change is not about appearing different from others, but about becoming someone you truly respect and admire. And if you like the content, consider becoming a member of the channel. Not only will you be helping the channel, but you'll also have access to exclusive content. Click the link in the description and become a member now. Back to content. Part 2. How to properly disappear. Imagine your words are like footprints in the sand. Every time you say something about your life, you leave a mark on the path you've taken. The more you speak, the easier it is for others to understand what you're doing and even guess what you'll do next. Have you ever felt that unease when your plans didn't work out? Or when you told someone something important and instead of support, you received doubt or suspicious looks? That's because silence can be a strength, but too much talking can backfire. From a young age, we become accustomed to telling everything. We learn to seek praise, to count our victories and wait for applause, and to share our difficulties while waiting for a hug or advice. But this desire to show everything can cause problems. Sometimes the more we talk, the more room we give others to judge, get in our way, or even be jealous. So be careful what you say. Capture your words before they slip away. Zeno, a very ancient philosopher, said something that still makes a lot of sense today. We have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. This shows that we should listen more and talk less. Not everyone needs to know about your dreams, your difficulties, or your plans. The only person who should be walking beside you and hearing these things is someone special. Someone who shares your values, who wants to grow with you, and who truly supports you. If that person isn't in tune with you, it's even more important to remain silent. Also, leave a little mystery hanging in the air. Let people be curious about you. Saving your plans will help you focus and protect your ideas. Instead of explaining everything, let the results show who you are. In this case, silence doesn't mean being alone, but rather being wise. This helps protect your dreams, prevents others from getting in the way, and most importantly, gives you power over your own story. You either choose the path you want to follow, or you let others choose for you. 1. Keep your plans secret. You know that moment when an incredible idea pops into your head. Your heart races, you start imagining everything that could happen, and the urge to tell someone is hard to suppress. But there's something important you need to learn. Talking about your plans can significantly reduce the likelihood of them coming true. Every time you say what you intend to do, part of your will to act disappears. It's as if your energy is being spent on words rather than actions. Imagine a balloon filled with air. At first, it's beautiful, light, and full of power. But every time you share your idea, it's as if you're slowly letting the air out. If this continues, the balloon will soon lose its power, fall to the ground, and no longer fly. Science shows that when you talk about a goal, your brain experiences a similar sense of joy as if it's already been achieved. That sounds good, but it isn't. This feeling makes you believe you've already done something even though you just said it. The desire to act disappears, and you stay in the same place. Therefore, it's best to stay calm. Keep your plans carefully. If you need an opinion or help, only talk to someone you truly trust. Say only what's necessary, and only to those who can truly support you. Your ideas are like seeds. If you plant them in a safe place and nurture them quietly, they'll grow strong. But if you show them to everyone, someone might step on them before they even sprout. Show who you are with your attitude. Silence, in this case, is like a protective shield. It protects your dreams until they are ready to blossom. 2. Separate yourself from the need to please others. Imagine this scene. You enter a room full of mirrors, but these mirrors are different. They don't show who you really are. Each one reflects a false version of you, based on what other people think. One mirror shows you smaller because someone thought you weren't capable. Another makes your mistakes seem enormous because someone criticized your decisions. And there's something even worse. It only shows what others want to see and hides who you really are. Now think about it. Do you want to live trapped or imprisoned in this place full of false images? Many people spend their lives trying to fit into these mirrors. They change the way they speak, act, and even dream just to please others, be it family, friends, their partner, or people on the internet. They care so much about what others think that they fear being criticized, rejected, or not accepted. And what do they gain from this? A weak identity whose existence depends on the eyes of others. The real problem isn't what other people think. Then you start to think their opinion is worth more than yours. If you really want to disappear, you have to leave those mirrors behind. Instead of seeking the approval of others, start by creating your own value. Ask yourself every day, if I were someone else, would I admire myself? Or if no one were watching, would I still do this? The answers will reveal whether you're truly living life or just trying to please the viewers. Ultimately, the only approval that truly matters is yours. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said something very interesting. The common man only tries to pass the time, but the talented man uses his time in valuable ways. If you live to be accepted by others, you end up wasting a very precious commodity, time. Time that you could use to become someone you are proud of, instead of someone who only wants to please you. Real change begins when your voice becomes the most important thing. When you decide what has value, not others, once you stop asking for permission to be yourself, no one can stop you from growing. 3. Store your pain wisely. Imagine a fighter training alone in silence and darkness. No one sees when he falls. No one listens when he screams in exhaustion. No one feels the pain he endures during training. But when he enters the ring, everyone sees only his strength. Now think about your own life. Growing up can be painful. The path to maturity is full of invisible challenges that you often face alone. There will be days when you feel tired. There will be moments when everything seems difficult, and you may find yourself doubting yourself some nights. As the pain intensifies, it's natural to want comfort. It's normal to feel the urge to vent, to tell someone, and hope they understand. But the truth is, not everyone will understand what you're feeling. Some may listen, but few will truly care. Others can use what you've shared against you, and many don't even have the emotional space to understand what you're going through. Your tears are yours, so are your brands. No one else will feel this pain for you. This doesn't mean you should hide everything or pretend you don't feel anything. It means you can learn to transform pain into strength. The philosopher Epictetus, for example, said something very wise to a student who was suffering because of his brother. He explained that everything in life has two sides, one that can be grasped and another that eludes your grasp. In other words, you can't control everything that happens, but you can decide how you deal with it. You can handle the problem in a way that brings you down or in a way that makes you stronger. Another thinker, Marco Aurelio, said that the obstacle becomes the path. This means that difficult moments can be used as steps toward progress rather than obstacles. When you choose to use pain as a means of growth, you begin to take control of your life again. You stop complaining and start taking action. Learn to accept pain as part of your development. It's the difficult times that help you discover who you truly are. In the silence when no one is watching, true change happens. And when it's all over, people will see your strength, but won't be able to imagine how hard you fought to get there. It's not about hiding what you feel. It strengthens the spirit. It grows in silence. This is where true power reveals itself. 4. Keep your progress still. Imagine you're caring for a very special tree. At first, all you see is the soil, but down there where no one is looking, roots are forming. They spread, anchor themselves in the ground, and support the tree's growth. Now think about it. If you started digging every time a root grew, just to show that something was happening, you wouldn't be helping the tree. On the contrary, you would hinder its growth. The roots need time to establish themselves without external intervention. They need space and peace to develop properly. The same principle applies to your life. The progress you strive for will come step by step. Over time, you will notice changes in yourself and feel like you are becoming a different, stronger, and more capable person. But like a tree, growth takes time and a solid foundation. For this change to be sustainable, it's important not to show the results before the right time. Nowadays, many people feel the need to show off everything they do, to prove to the whole world that they're changing, that they're getting better. They want others to see and applaud every little step. But in reality, too much showing off can cause more problems than benefits. Social networks, for example, have put pressure on us to share every achievement, every step we take. Yet this presence doesn't always lead to genuine support. It often arouses envy in others, or worse, doubts about their decisions. People who aren't ready to change may even try to push you back into the past because your growth makes them uncomfortable. This doesn't mean these people are bad. It's simply the natural reaction of those who are used to living in stagnation. Furthermore, a strange phenomenon occurs in our minds. If you talk too much about your small successes, your brain can start to think the work is already done. And when that happens, you lose motivation to continue. It's as if you already receive recognition by telling others about your progress, and that's enough. But the real work is far from over, and the feeling that you've already done it can distract you from your true goals. So the more you talk about your progress, the less motivated you may feel to continue growing. But how can you do it differently? How can you focus on what really matters without having to brag about everything you've accomplished? Stoic philosophers like Epictetus gave us valuable advice. Be low-key. When you change physically, when you get healthier or stronger, don't feel the need to draw attention to it. As Epictetus said, if you only drink water, you don't have to tell everyone about it. Silence can be a powerful tool. It creates space for reflection, for true growth without the pressure of external validation. When you earn more money, you don't have to show off everything you've bought or tell everyone how wealthy you are. Just carry on living as if nothing has changed. If you've learned something new, use that knowledge wisely without exaggeration or boasting. The key is not to hide your successes, but to live with the confidence that you don't need the approval of others to validate your progress. This means you can trust your journey without worrying about other people's opinions. This isn't about hiding or living in the dark, but rather about learning to live authentically without relying on external approval. Your attitude speaks for itself. What you do, how you act, how you behave, all of this reflects your development. The people around you will notice, even without you saying a word. It's not about showing off, but about living the truth calmly and confidently. And if someone asks what happened and how you managed to change, you don't need to give a long or elaborate explanation. A sincere smile and a simple sentence can be more than enough. I was just focusing on what was important. Sometimes words are unnecessary when your mere presence takes care of itself. What you did and how you behaved will be more than clear to those who truly care. But there's something important to understand. If you've been trying to step out of your comfort zone and learn more for a long time but still haven't succeeded, there may be something you're not aware of. I know what it could be. It's fear. Fear is like a snake that comes silently and influences you without you noticing. It makes you feel bad for days, months, and even years. Living like this is like being constantly sick. But I know a solution. Stoic philosophers and modern psychology have a way to eliminate this. I myself managed to cure myself of this fear. I made a video explaining how to get rid of this evil, and it's in the first comment. Click the link in the first comment and begin healing this feeling of fear. Part 3. How to get back on your feet. If you've followed the steps so far, something very interesting will happen. The need to get back on your feet will disappear. The desire to prove something to others will simply vanish. When you become your own benchmark, there's no point in seeking external approval anymore. However, if you decide to demonstrate your growth, do it right. Not with empty words or superficial demonstrations, but with the strength of your actions and the presence of someone who has truly changed. Now let's talk about how to get back on your feet in a way that truly makes a difference. 1. Reappear without fanfare. Imagine the scenario. You walk into a place where you were once just another face in a crowd, but now something has changed. People look at you differently, as if they sense something new within you. It may not be immediately apparent, but there's an energy in the air, something impossible to ignore. The most interesting part, you didn't have to say anything. His transformation speaks for itself. The new physique, the new mindset, the renewed energy you carry within you, all of this can be expressed without words. People often make the mistake of feeling like they have to justify the development they've experienced. They explain where they've been, what they've done, the difficulties they've faced, and try to validate every stage of their process. But a truly mature person has nothing to prove. True growth isn't about convincing others. It's about internalizing change and allowing it to manifest naturally. Stoicism teaches us just that, the freedom to live without relying on external approval or validation. As Epictetus said, when someone is properly grounded in life, they don't need to seek approval outside themselves. He reminds us that when you're at peace with yourself, you don't need validation from others to feel complete. If you've spent time rebuilding yourself, dedicating yourself to learning and strengthening yourself internally, you know that the best response you can give the world now is your silence. The mystery, calm, and serenity in your demeanor preserve your peace and protect your focus. And most importantly, it prevents destructive influences from reaching you. You've become someone more solid and centered, and the world around you needs to recognize this without you having to explain it. Yes, some people will question your move. Others may even try to pull you back into old ways, into the person you were before. But deep down, it doesn't matter. What really matters is that you know who you've become. You feel it inside. When someone asks you what you've been doing, smile, take a deep breath, and simply say, "I'm alive." No further explanation is needed, because true change doesn't need words. It's reflected in what you radiate, in your presence. Then continue your journey. Don't waste time trying to convince others of who you are now. Real winners don't make noise. They make progress. They don't need applause or recognition to move forward. They know that true success lies in quiet transformation and constant development, and that this alone is more than enough. So instead of seeking the validation of others, keep growing, keep living, and let your change be a testament to everything you've accomplished. The world will see the difference without you having to make a fuss. 2. Develop yourself further. Think of a great athlete at the peak of their career. They train relentlessly, win competitions, and become a legend. But one day, they decide to stop. Stop training with the same commitment. Stop challenging your own limits. Stop developing. What happens next? You begin to lose performance. Your body no longer responds as it used to. Your reflexes slow down, and soon new competitors appear. Younger, more committed, more ready to fight for victory. When you realize you've lost your place at the top, that's the mistake many people make in life. They reach a goal and think the journey is over. They get a good job, a good relationship, a certain level of financial stability, and think they can just stop. But the truth is, growth never ends. Life isn't about reaching a goal. It's about moving forward. You can achieve the body you've always dreamed of, the bank balance you desired, the life you envisioned. But when you stop doing that, it all starts to fall apart. The body that isn't cared for weakens, money that isn't well managed disappears, the mind that isn't challenged loses strength. Developing yourself isn't a choice. It's the only way to ensure you never return to the same person you were before. We're often drawn to our comfort zone because it gives us a false sense of security. You think, I've worked so hard to get here, now I can relax a little. And without realizing it, a week of rest turns into a month into a year. The next thing you know, you're stagnating while others keep going. But that's not how life works. What doesn't grow regresses and inevitably dies. Think of a tree. It never stops growing. Its roots deepen, its branches spread, and it is constantly changing. However, when a tree stops growing, it weakens, withers, is attacked by pests, and eventually dies. Now think about your life. Are you still growing, or are you allowing stagnation to overwhelm you? People who truly evolve follow a simple principle. With every goal achieved, they create a new challenge. With every goal exceeded, they establish a new level. And with every step, they look toward the next one. Success isn't an end point, but a process of continuous development. And to continue growing, you must follow 3 important rules. First, never stop learning. The world is constantly changing, and those who don't keep pace with these changes will ultimately be left behind. The knowledge that got you here may not be enough to take you further. Therefore, it's important to nourish your mind, read books, study, and learn new skills. The mind that stops growing begins to weaken. Second, surround yourself with people who motivate you to improve. Have you ever heard the phrase, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with"? It's not just a saying, it's a psychological truth. When you live with people who don't strive for advancement, who are content with what they have, and who complain instead of taking action, it's inevitable that this will affect you. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who challenge you, who are constantly learning and inspire you to grow, your development will follow naturally. Seek out mentors who know more than you. Join groups that challenge you. Be the person in the room who learns the most, not the one who thinks they already know everything. And third, outdo yourself every day. If you can do 1% better today than yesterday, you're already on the right track. Consider what you can achieve in a year. The secret lies not in large, infrequent efforts, but in a mindset of constant improvement. It's more important to improve a little every day than to have big bursts of motivation followed by long periods of stagnation. Consider your diet. If you only eat healthy for 1 week, you won't see the same results as someone who eats a balanced diet for a year. Progress comes from consistency, not from intense, short-term efforts. And this is precisely where many fail. They strive for quick results, instant recognition. They constantly want to be seen and prove something to others. But they forget that true evolution doesn't happen on stage, but behind the scenes. True power lies not in constantly being noticed, but in becoming unattainable. Because while some make noise, those who truly thrive build their success quietly. Remember, silence is your native language. Learn to master it. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for accompanying me during these learning moments.